been a fun journey so far, and I know we have listeners all over the world. I know I've seen some different countries. One of the things that I wanted to say hello to is our people down under. I noticed that we've got a bunch of listeners down in Australia. So it's really kind of interesting to see how we've gone worldwide and that the needs of different small businesses aren't just in the United States, that everyone is going through the same issues, same problems, and that we're really providing the opportunities to better those problems. And we're going to talk today about kind of like the 7 deadly sins of marketing. And this should be fun because I'm going to ask Jim exactly how many he's going through.
Oh, my God. I just read them. I go, why don't you just outline our marketing plan? Hey, we are on the campus here in Hammond, Indiana of Purdue. And I just want to congratulate you on an amazing digital marketing competition. And if you could just plug that real quick.
Yeah. So the digital marketing competition is an international event that we run on our campus every single year. We've got one case client that we give to all of the universities throughout the world. So we had 31%, I think it was, were international this year. And Western Michigan University, Dr. Scott Kelly he had actually 2 teams that placed in the top 3 this year. So they took home the first place trophies and bragging rights. I think he's the only professor to win twice. So we've been doing this for 5 years. We do it every semester, and he's won his 2nd title. So it's really kind of a neat thing. Like I said, we had 189 student teams across the world that were competing, and you get some really cool ideas. And it's a free event, so if anyone ever wanted to watch it, you can always go to digitalmarketingcompetition.com and you can see what they've done. But then you can also, every year we have our final event, which is free, and anyone can sign up for a free ticket.
And that was, what company was it this year?
We had Plantennas, which is a startup here from P&W. We've also worked with a bunch of other clients, some big, some small. We've had Radio Flyer. I think it was their 105th year anniversary. We've worked with startup companies that are off and running, like Super Coffee and the DeSico brothers, and we've just had such a good time with that. We get some really cool ideas that come out of it every year, and me personally, I want to hire every single one of these students that come out of it.
Digitalmarketingcompetition.com if you just want to watch some of the final presentations, and inside each of those presentations are many of the fundamentals that we're talking about how to market your small business. And it has been an incredible journey for me, too, because I have a small business, a streaming business for sports and for radio. And I have learned so many things. But one of the things I've learned is all the mistakes that we've made. And we're going to go through some of those today. The 7 deadly sins of marketing. Do people even want to go through this? Because almost everybody listening has at least one, if not all 7 of these.
Well, that's good, because I actually have some of these as well, and some of the things that I'm working on. So, even if you've been doing this for 25 plus years, I've had millions and millions and millions of dollars in revenue from my clients, and I'm still making mistakes as we go through it. And I think it's just complacency and all of the other things that we get involved in, right? There's only so much time and systems that we have to implement, but we'll get into that as we go through this.
So one of the things that is sticking with me, and which I'm using with our marketing team, is that you keep coming back to something, do one thing. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go through all this, and you're like, oh, I got to fix everything. Even if you listen to the 7 deadly sins and you saw, man, that really sticks out for me, I'm going to try to fix that one. That might be the easier way to do this. Let's go to sin number 1, doing the bare minimum. What's that mean?
Yeah, so we're talking about sloth, obviously. And these are people that they'll look at social and they'll just post something once a week, right? Well, I've done my job. I've put it out there. Hopefully somebody will see it. We're just keeping it relevant. We're keeping it active. We're not really putting a whole lot of thought and effort into it. But the problem with that really is you post once a week, and if it goes through the system and you're not getting the engagement, what happens? You disappear from the feed, right? So I'm actually trying to I've got another professor from another university that did a great TED Talk just recently that talks about kind of this problem and how social media works and all the intricate details of it. But when we're talking about sloth and we're talking about posting once a week, realize that you are doing the bare minimum. There are people out there that are posting 20 times a day, right? And those are the ones that are showing up. Now, I'm not saying you got to go out there and post 20 times a day. But I am saying that you should probably look at what is a decent amount of times to put content out there. Once a week is just not enough.
That I guess we are on a campus and there's plenty of students that come through here. I guess that would be a good moment to just bring that up, and that sometimes some of these businesses are a little bit larger. They want to post and they don't know what to post and they don't want to deal with it. They're worried in their own business attracting. I mean, that is also a career path in its own way of managing people's social media. And if you get it good at it personally, you can easily roll that in to approaching businesses with that idea.
Right, without a doubt. I mean, it is as they say, or as Gary Vee says all the time, right? It's free. Get out there and do it, right? So you're not paying for your organic posting, and if you develop a following, and we've seen that through some of the clients that we've dealt with. We've also seen that with some of the people we've had on the podcast recently, that they have huge followings. That these people are starting businesses, their followers are commenting and sharing and doing all these wonderful things with them. So, if Crema Avenue or Unhinged Sanity decided to post once a week, that's not going to do it for them. You see that. I mean, just in the conversations that we've had with them on the podcast, they are posting consistently, and their following is interacting with them because of that. It's not just once and then they're gone.
To clarify the kind of weak post, is it algorithm or logarithm?
Algorithm.
And I'm dyslexic, so I get these backwards. But if you're putting up weak posts, then you will disappear from some algorithms that you would normally appear on people's feeds. So you got to remember that there's some huge that there is some danger there. Let's go down to number 2, pride, thinking you don't need marketing. Talk about that.
We deal with egos a lot, right, in business. Many people will say, you know what, I get most of my business through referrals. I don't need to market. I don't need to spend any money. I don't need to spend any time. And what I always say to them is, are you where you want to be? And they're like, well, we could do better. And I always say, oh, okay, then let's start marketing. I mean, we could double your business, triple your business if you just put a little effort into your marketing. And when you start to have those conversations, you go, you're not doing anything right now and you're making X, right? X number of dollars in revenue. If we were to invest $1 into your marketing, could we get 5 out, or could we get 2 out, or whatever it may be, right? Just by putting some marketing out there. And again, we've talked about on this podcast that you don't need to spend money on marketing. You can actually do partnerships and collaborations and all these other, I mean, we did a whole podcast on this last week, but realize that there is opportunity to grow. And I know the next podcast that we're going to do, we're going to talk about some of these small businesses that just went all in and did something very easy, and their marketing took them to ridiculous levels. I'm talking 1 point something billion dollars, right? And so that's what I mean. If you're fine sitting there and pulling in your $100,000 in revenue every year from your referrals, but you could do a $1 million business next year if you actually marketed, again, if you're comfortable, that's fine. But I know probably most of the people that are listening are sitting there going, I'd like to do $1 million in revenue, or $10 million in revenue, or even more.
If you know the history here, the way that we met is kind of later in life. I went and got an MBA. We're on the campus, so I would go out and take one class a semester. Next thing you know, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just get an MBA. But I remember the strategic management classes, and no one wants to take those. And then all of a sudden, they make a lot of sense. And one of the things one of the professors said was that you got to think in the terms of all the different systems that you have running and all the different processes. And you really can't forget any of them, or you can have real problems in your business. And one of those is marketing. You have to, in my mind, it's easy to start marketing and develop a system that you may not be accustomed to doing. Right. You know how to make your widget. You know how to sell your goods. You know how to go to events and that kind of stuff, but it all has to come together in a system that may not need today, but you got to have that system in place. All of a sudden you have hit a rough patch, or you're really big and you're going against some of the bigger people. They've got a whole marketing system. Right. You don't, and you just didn't do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what is going to happen in the economy, right? So I've seen right now a lot of people are kind of holding back and trying to figure out what's going to go on with the whole tariff system, and all this other stuff. But we don't know what's going to happen. But I can tell you, if the economy starts to shift where people are holding on to more of their dollars, those that are out there that are continually marketing are going to be the ones that are going to get the dollars that are spent, right? And too many people look at marketing as an expense and not an investment. So when I sit down and I talk with somebody, I say, we are literally, here's what it's going to cost. And I don't say cost, I said, here's the initial investment of what we're going to do, and here's our plan to make that back. Right. So the idea is this, that if I put $10,000 or even $10 into something, I expect over the long run to actually make that back. Right. And that is a conversation that you have to have. It's an investment into your business. So when people say they're not investing into their business, okay, that's fine. Enjoy where you're at. You're going to grow a lot smaller, but I hate the expense side of it.
Chasing too many audiences at once. This is sin number 3. Matt Hansen.
Yeah, it's greed, right? So we're trying to get everything. When you talk to somebody, and I've got a presentation that I'm doing in a couple weeks, and many times when I sit down with these small businesses, they start going, well, everyone is my customer. And I say, no, right? That is not how we're going to look at this. They're chasing every single audience that's out there. They're chasing every single person that they can possibly see because they don't understand their persona, their avatar, however you want to say it, right? So who is it that you're going to go out there and target? Who is the ideal customer? We've talked about the 80-20 principle, finding your best customers that are going to be, 20% of your customers will bring in 80% of your revenues. The idea is you have to find out who those individuals are, right? Those are the ones that you want to target. But too many times, everyone is chasing everyone. So somebody walks by, they walk into your store, they call you, whatever it is. You meet them at a show, a trade show. You meet them at an event. You meet them in the lobby here, right? The idea is this: find out if they are the type of customer that you want to work with. And I know that's hard because everyone's just like, I want to work with everyone. You don't. I mean, we've had those conversations. Find your best customers. Don't chase everyone, because bad customers will waste all of your time and all of your money, and it will drive you insane.
I'll give you an example. Here we are. We do a sports streaming network, Jed TV Sports Network, and we didn't really know who our customer was. We'll sell to every business, and and we're basically giving all of them the same amount of effort, because a huge customer and a little customer are basically about the same. You got to make them a spot. You got to give them a proposal. You got to sign a contract. You got to make sure they pay you. All that stuff is it. So we figured that, most of our revenue was coming from about 6 customers. Mm-hmm. And we had to work with a investment person to kind of make us focus on it. But it's like, why are you selling to these little customers? Let the schools sell to the little customers. So we basically said, we're not selling to any little customers. Go to your school, let them do it, and then they'll, get all of the money and all of the commission and everything. And then we just concentrated on the regional customers. Man, has that made a difference.
Yeah, you're not chasing your tail at this point.
No,
you're not everywhere, right? So you were running and probably spending hours and hours and hours of your time driving all over the place, making phone calls, answering emails. Now you've realized where the money's coming from. You've cut that in at least half, if not 2/3 of your time is back, right? And you're doing the same, if not better, than you were before.
Yeah, it really do. I mean, it's kind of hard to do because if you're a struggling small business, and pretty much every small business is struggling, you want to get everyone, and then you'll take every business, and that is not the right strategy, and I can tell you that. Hey, let's go on to number 4, copying the big guys. Apple does it.
Yeah, it's envy, right? So you see something that Apple has done or one of these big companies is doing, and you're just like, oh, I want my advertising to look just like them. And quite honestly, they are spending $50, $100, $200 million a year to get that. They have massive teams. They have massive agencies. They are paying agencies in the Publicis Group or whatever, right, millions and millions of dollars to create that kind of stuff. And when you say that, realize it works well for them because that is them, right? So don't try to be something you're not. I think we see this way too often. People are like, "Oh, I want it to be polished. I want all of these wonderful things." We kind of joke that here on the podcast, we're playing with different sets and all these other things and different headsets we've got different chairs. I mean, last time you were climbing over the couch to get your microphone to work, right? Like that's who we are. We're not this polished, 200 million listener podcast that's out there.
Not yet.
No, but I mean, we're growing and we're doing wonderful things, and we own what we are. This is who we are. I mean, this is what we want to do. So we don't try to be anything more than we are, and you shouldn't either. You've got to find your inner voice, your inner personality, and build on that. And I think too many people just try to be a big brand, and there really is no personality to them whatsoever.
Let's take the flip side of that. There are brands, and you bring them up all the time. Oh, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. And, you bring it up with us and our marketing team. What's one that you like right now, a brand that's doing the right thing?
A brand? Oh, goodness. That's a good question. I mean, I think if I'm looking at a brand as a whole, I think the one that intrigues me the most is probably the largest one that everyone wishes they were part of. And this is going to sound weird to you, but I say the NFL is the biggest brand to watch because they're so interesting. Now, I could not go out and start a football, conference, all this other stuff, right, like the NFL. But the NFL is more than just games. They are a feeling. On Sunday, my team is playing. Now, I am a Bears fan, and, again, I'm going into this season, and I'm looking at it, and like, we just drafted. We've got a new offensive line. I'm still hesitant, right? I'm still burned from years past, but I'm optimistic, and it's something that I'm waiting for. Like, how many times can you say you are waiting to go participate with a company? Because that's what it is. It's a company, and I'm waiting. I think it's May 4th or something. No, I'm sorry. Was it May 6th? Yeah. They're releasing the schedule, and I'm just like, okay, I can't wait. I want to see, where are the games, because, you're in Chicago, so you go early. You don't want to go in December and January because you freeze to death. But the NFL, I'm texting my buddies during the draft. I'm like, this is so exciting. I can't wait. But that's the funny part, right? Like, it's a draft, and you're excited about it, right? So you get a notification that your team has picked somebody up. You get a notification that Aaron Rodgers may not play this year, right? Like, there's all of these things that you're just kind of like hopeful for. But that's just, it's a company, right? So that is a brand that I really, truly get behind. And I think it's interesting. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect, but the amount of things that they have going on. We went to the NFL Combine for when they had the linemen running, and my son and I were laughing. We're like, these guys are running, 4-second, like 4 point something, 5.0, 40-mile or 40-yard dashes, and we had just got done running a 6 and a 7, right? So these guys are 100 and some pounds more than me, and they're running way faster. So it's this. There's so many intricate details to it, but you will never be in NFL, so don't try. But you understand what I'm saying about the NFL. It's a feeling that you get. You can't wait to interact with it.
I agree. It's odd. We're pretty sports oriented here. It's a streaming sports network. And I was going to say the WNBA.
Yeah.
They have capitalized on Caitlin Clark, and really the same thing. I find myself watching WNBA games when I never would have done that before. Using every platform and doing it poorly is the fifth deadly sin, and it is gluttony. What's that mean?
That means you are everywhere and you are doing no good on all of them, right? So you're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, right? YouTube, you name it. And you are just posting content out there and you're not even paying attention to what's going on, right? We actually teach, I don't know if you remember this, I might have taught you this back in the day, but we actually use what's called the POST method. And it's, people is the first thing that you, what most people do is they pick the technology first, and then they go and they start to figure out, all right, well, what are we doing? What you want to do is you want to actually go out there and identify who are the people that we're going after, the target audience, right? What are our objectives, the O? what is the strategy that we're going to implement, which is the S. And then T, we only after we understand those three do we pick the technology that we're going to go use. So if you have something that needs to be explained visually, right? So some kind of video, it really doesn't make sense to be on a platform that is mostly text or something like that, right? I know I get it that most social media is kind of integrated video at this point, but when it first all started, YouTube was kind of the video platform. So, if you're trying to explain things, you're trying to show visuals, maybe it's imagery, right? So imagery is huge with Instagram, but you wouldn't put just a series of pictures on YouTube. That doesn't make sense, right? So understand kind of the strategy that you're going after and how you're going to use it, and then pick the technology. But don't be everywhere trying to do everything, because I see this way too often. And really what ends up happening is, nothing is going well.
It's related to chasing too many audiences at once, the number 3 sin, which of course was greed. Now we go to the 6th deadly sin, and that is wrath. Reacting instead of planning. And I have a feeling that you're going to go straight at like kind of random sales. Hey, we got to do a bargain. Sales are down, and that is
happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
We do it here, and I realize what a bad decision that is.
So you should have a plan. You should understand when those discounts, those promotions are going to happen, and that should be based off of the data that you have gathered throughout the year, right? So if you know your business, if you know your numbers, when sales are going to be down or when you typically don't get enough customers in the door, that's when you should be prepared to run those promotions to try and drive people through the door. What ends up happening is you sit there and you're like, oh, we should probably run a sale. Sales have been down, and you're just kind of reacting off the cuff, right? So too many times people they don't understand the data to really kind of take it and run with it. But don't do that, right? You're actually shooting yourself in the foot by doing that, because you may be offering sales during peak times where people are going to be coming in anyway. So don't offer the 20% discount when you're not seeing a massive influx of new people walking in the door. You got to sell more now instead of making more.
That's hard to do if sales are down, though.
It is.
I mean, and people got to keep the doors open.
But define sales down, right? That's the thing. Do they understand? Are they down 5%? Are they down 1%? Are they down at all? I mean, I've talked with clients where, we need to sell more, and I'll look at it and they're up 5% on the year. You don't even know what's going on. Like, let's look at the real data to really understand it.
That's, of course, one of the things that kind of is part of the umbrella here, and that is auditing yourself.
Right.
People don't want to do that. We'll get to that. Finally, the 7th deadly sin is lust, chasing the shiny new thing. Now, if you're listening to this podcast and you just found it, we're kind of a shiny new thing, but you know what? We're based in tradition and principles, and you have to find those things that work with you. How do you avoid chasing the shiny new thing?
Well, the question that I always ask people is, do you understand it? And they say, no, I need to understand it. I said, are you going to spend the time to go learn and how to understand it? So AI is huge right now, right? So AI, everyone talks about AI. Most people are talking about ChatGPT. Now they're talking about AI agents. What's next, right? So everyone is chasing the next thing. And I've talked to a bunch of people in the last week about AI, and everyone's chasing it. And I'm going, but how are you going to use it? Like, you're again picking the technology instead of thinking about the whole people, objective, strategy, and then technology. We're chasing it again. We do it over and over and over again. It's like when TikTok went down, everyone's like, oh my goodness, we got to get back on TikTok. Yeah, shiny new object, like get back on it, right? The new thing that's being talked about is live shopping on social. And I don't know if you've heard any of this, but basically people are selling almost like, they'll go live and they have a certain amount of product and they'll sell it and they'll, bid on it and everything else. So it's like a live bidding or live sales type thing. My mother-in-law just bought a purse yesterday off of Facebook because she's got this place that she follows. They put a purse up. They're talking about it. Here's the price. Call the number. She bought it. I mean, that's the new thing, and that's the shiny new tool that everyone is talking about right now.
Live shopping.
Yeah.
Gosh, we used to have something on the radio side, I don't know, years ago, decades ago, called Bargain Bonanza. and people, I'll still get stopped on the street. Hey, man, when you bring a bargain bonanza back? I'm like, I don't know. It's just part of that was that it was a sad story. Somebody sold a bird cage, and someone went to pick it up and then robbed them, and there you go. Yeah. It was some legal ramifications, so you got to get out of that.
My favorite one is my in-laws have a place up in the UP of Michigan, and they have this radio program where you can call in and you say, hey, I've got a kayak for sale, $300, and the guy will go, okay, Kyle from Iron River has a kayak for $300. You can call him at, and they give the phone number over the radio. It's the most interesting thing I've ever heard. But that's what we're doing on social now, and that is the new shiny toy that everyone is talking about, and you'll see it more now that I've mentioned it.
So to sum all this up, I mean,
because you can actually watch the podcast on YouTube, the full podcast, but then on Instagram you're getting kind of little snippets and reels of information, right? So if you've got something that kind of resonated today and you're just like, oh, I've got to fix that, I mean, give us a shout out on Instagram. It's just at Mastering Local Marketing, but let us know what sin you're doing and how you're going to fix it. I mean, we'll even chime in and provide some value if you're putting that out there. But happy to have a conversation with anyone that wants to talk more about it.
And the conversations that he are always fruitful. You get like one free one, and then on the way here, we had a woman doing a podcast before us, and she wants to get her word out. It's veterans, and it should be kind of an easy one, but they're new to the game, and then all of a sudden, Matt has another potential client. Always be selling. We got to get back to that one too. Right. He's Matt Hansen. I'm Jim Diedlow. This is the Mastering Local Marketing Podcast. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thank you.
Till next time, see you later.